The next thing we're going to do to refactor the Meetup client is by switching to a different gem, we can actually clean up this whole thing here. What you would need is the REST client. So you would put a line like this into your gem file. I'm not going to do that for you. I'm going to assume you know already what's necessary there. But here's, we'll just paste in here I have an example of posting to a REST client. With my comment in there, it's just answer the hash result from parsing what is returned from the portal, or so in this case the Meetup API, or nil if there was an error. I'm using a database Altabase here, so you know we can get rid of some of these logging output that I'm using. I'm going to keep that one there for fun. And then here's a little error reporting. Now the thing is, we do not need to do the post. All we need to do is a get. And so I do believe we're not going to have a payload in that case. But I think all we probably need is to say get URL and that we accept JSON. Of course, not knowing the Meetup API per se, that might not even be necessary. So you might get away even with just doing that. No, you are specifying here you're saying specifically that you are that you want JSON. So get rid of that extra comma there. So as you can see, we end up with just JSON parse the REST client get. So that is really all that we're doing. So we can get rid of all that code. I do believe if you wanted to really get cool, I guess you could always hack off this and just go with that. If you really want to reduce the number of lines of code, I don't think that's going to work. I think it's going to want something is going to need to be parameterized here. So that is just about it. Now you can see here up in my pasted example, I have a begin and rescue block there. If you have any kind of error that can occur, and you know, if an exception can get thrown, then this just gives you an example of what you could do there, so that you are guaranteed not to throw an exception out of this method, and that you'll return nil in the event that there is an exception thrown. So now we'll just get rid of this because we've outlived its need, and or the need for it. Now, personally, I tell you what, you know, personally, I don't see a big advantage. I realize you could go for fewer lines of code, but this makes it clear we're getting JSON back. This here, we can go ahead and use RubyMine's refactor. You're not going to be doing that. Extract a variable. We'll just call it URL. Get rid of the parentheses. And as it turns out, I'm glad I went through this because I realized I don't even need this URI parse thing anymore. The only good that was doing this was getting, I think you were using the port number. Okay, so now we just got the URL. We've got we use that for the REST client get. We get back some JSON, and then we parse the JSON, returning an object. We're done. All right. Last thing. Go ahead and get rid of that. And there we go. Nice, short, and sweet. Some final cleanup here has resulted in the discovery that photo host, order, fields, all these are now pulled down here. And again, photo host is always public. Order is time except in the one case here where it's ID. These other two cases share time. Now, limited events is false in both of these, but it does not exist in this hash. So I'm not really making don't have a clean way that I can think of to have a default non-value, I guess you could say, like a default. Like, how would I specify that it doesn't exist here? I could use a special value, I suppose, but in this case, I don't know. I don't really think it's worth it. Maybe it would be if there was a compelling reason.